Let's see, I'll give this to Gary, that to George, I'll give that to Paul, and that to Wendy. Hi, if your friends are into computers, software, or peripherals can make a great Christmas present during this holiday season. Today, we're going to give you our favorite suggestions for holiday gifts from the computer store on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by CompuServe, featuring an online reference library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping, airline reservations, games, and hundreds of other services. CompuServe, helping people get the most from computers. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet, and this is Santa Claus Kildall over here.
Merry Christmas, Stewart.
Merry Christmas to you, Gary. Gary, I asked you to come up with an idea, a gift idea for Christmas for a computer user, and you brought this whole operation here. Now, what is this that you got?
This is called a Sony picture computer. It's this little box right down here. And you use it to add pictures and titles and things to your home VCR movies.
Show me how you
It has a charge coupled device scanner. It's this device here. You take a piece of paper, make a little drawing on it like this. And for example, this might be a title for the trip to New York. Set it over the top, sight through it, and push the little start button. And we'll see the black and white image come up on the screen as it's scanning process.
Okay, so you're scanning a little drawing you made, and we're making now titles for our home video of our trip to New York.
Right. And when the scanning process gets finished, we're going to use the controls on the scanner to fill in the colors. Okay, now it gets to the right here. We'll see a little color palette appear down the lower right-hand corner.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. Now I'm going to select a red color for the apple here, and move this cursor down. You see a little X down there, and we'll paint that in. Okay. And then I'm going to go up and color the stem. I'll have to select another color here. We'll take, I'll find a green in here.
Okay,
there's a green. Okay,
stem.
so move this up, center the cursor again, and then paint that in.
That green.
Okay?
Okay.
And we'll move up here and get the letters. Take a, let's try a yellow with that one.
Okay.
Find a yellow. Okay, paint that in. And then we'll move over here to the end, like that. And then I'll go over here and get the exclaim.
Okay.
Move up here. Now you can also get a little trackball that goes with this, makes this operation a little bit faster, And I'm also going to zoom in on this one little piece so we can see that. So
okay, so you've got a two-time zoom function in there.
Now we can take a look at that, paint that in, and then we're back again. Now we've got our picture painted. We can use this to include in our VCR taping.
Okay, so I could roll. I just happen to have some video, home video, which Gary took in New York. And we
here it comes.
Okay, there's
now
the
this
video.
is a standard shaking.
Right.
It tells non-professional. Here's our scanned image.
Okay.
Now we'll put superimpose in there. And we have our titles on top of it.
Professional titles. Okay, how much does that thing cost?
This is around $400.
Not a bad Christmas idea. Okay, in just a minute, we're going to be joined by the rest of the Computer Chronicles gang, George Morrow, Paul Schindler, Wendy Woods, with all their suggestions for Christmas gifts for the computer user on your list. First of all, let's go out to the retail stores and see what the hot-selling items are right now in the computer stores during this holiday season.
For almost every retail store, Christmas is the biggest selling event of the year. The colorful decorations are vivid reminders of the commercial importance of the holidays, and 1987 is no exception. Nervous computer retailers are watching carefully to see if Wall Street's October crash was a harbinger of bad times. But that doesn't seem to be the case, at least for now.
So far, that type of bad news activity hasn't really put a dent in our business. Our customers don't even really talk about it or mention it. Probably has a lot to do with the general population who we do business with on a daily basis probably don't have a significant amount of money tied up in the stock market to begin with. So whether the stock market went up or went down really didn't affect them at all. We've seen a significant surge in business. November was a strong month altogether, and we thought we would conclude strong, but it seemed like it's almost doubled itself within the last 3 days. So people certainly are out there ready to buy.
Christmas buying has a big impact on both sales volume and on the kind of product that sells. Games, for example, represent up to 75% of holiday software sales at this store. But the popularity of entertainment software doesn't mean that Yuletide shoppers are less sophisticated. They seem to be getting more selective.
We're finding that people now are maybe buying their second machine, trading up, trading in. There's capabilities for customers to trade in, and we can now resale used applications. Well, Christmas time gives us a chance to build new customers. And then Christmas sales will lead into sales for the next 9 months, basically. We use the last 3 months of the year to capitalize on the 9 months of business that we've been working on so hard.
Shopping for a computer can lead to a very expensive Christmas. But if most buyers view the holiday season with financial anxiety, for other, more innocent shoppers, it means a lot more.
Joining us in the studio now, in addition to Santa Claus Kildall over here, is George Morrow, our regular host and commentator and chief scientist at Nestar. And next to George, Wendy Woods, our regular reporter. Wendy, of course, is also editor-in-chief of News Bites. Gary, start.
I want to see what George has got for us here.
Well, I've got a lot of things. The first thing is a piece of software called Byline. It's, I think, the best piece of desktop publishing software that's come around the pike. It's about $300. It's written by a fellow who used to be a professional writer and has turned himself into a programmer. It allows you to import from almost any kind of other program that creates files like DBase 3 or any of the spreadsheet programs. It allows you to bring those into a document and format them any way you want and publish them. And you don't have to fiddle with the file itself. The file stays just the way you want. It has got to be, I think it's going to be the standard in what civilized desktop
It's pretty new, right?
It's pretty new. It's just coming out. Ashton Tate is distributing it. It's a great piece of software.
A good starter for a person who wants to get into desktop publishing.
A good starter, and I think it's got a lot of horsepower. I think it's got the horsepower to last quite a while. Now, the second, you know, these days, we're in the transition between 3.5-inch drives and 5 1/4. Well, this is a perfect product. It's called LapLink. It's about $100. It comes with a cable that you can't make a mistake with because it has...
It's got one of everything.
It's got both kinds of connectors at either way, and it'll plug into any pair of serial ports. You plug it in, you bring it up. It's got a 3.5-inch diskette and a 5 1/4-inch diskette. And it's the most civilized, easy-to-use program to transfer files that I've ever seen. I use it all the time.
For the transition.
I not only use it for my portables, but I use it when I want to transfer files across normal computers too. It's really good. Now, the third piece of software that I think is good for Christmas is a piece of software called Higgins. Higgins is a piece of personal productivity software. I have it on my portable that I carry with me all the time. I mean, you guys won't be able to see much of this, but Wendy, this is the screen as it comes up. It's got an appointment, all my things, my activities in the day. It has a calendar. It has a directory. I'm able to come in here and look at anybody's name and address I want. I can go view this fellow, and suppose I want to call him. All I do is press telephone, and the thing, it'll dial. It keeps track of MCI Sprint numbers. I can dial all over the world. It keeps track of expenses. It'll do almost anything I want. If I have an appointment and I need to call somebody, I can call up that appointment. I can move over to the person's file whose phone number I have and make the phone call all in about 4 or 5 keystrokes. It's got to be the best piece of personal productivity software I've run into. I can't afford a secretary anymore. And this takes the place of it, and it makes me more effective.
It's well named than Higgins.
Higgins, right.
And how much is this one, George?
This is, I think, around $200. So we have one for $300, one for $200, and one for $100.
Okay, so George's picks are Byline and LapLink and Higgins. Great Christmas products. Christmas ideas, okay? Gary, what do you got here?
Okay, well, this is one.
Fancy
this is kind of an interesting device. This is called the Complete Hand Scanner. It comes from Complete PC. And the idea is that you get really a low-cost way of getting images into a computer system. Well, here's a Gary Larson cartoon. Okay. It's one of my favorites, actually. Now, what I got to do is start this thing. I'll get to the Enter key, and I'm going to scan this as a 5-inch image. And so I hit the F2 key here, and then hold this button down, and then you'll see the image coming up here.
There it is.
So you're manually just sliding that
across there. Okay, then we get to the end of it. Yeah, it's not too bad. And then we get to the end of this thing. We hit a key, and then that stores that away. Now we get a little menu down here. We can change the size of it, scale it to, let's say, scale it down by half. Now we can also rotate this around a little bit. Rotate it one direction.
Right,
there we go.
Right. Yeah, upside down.
Upside down is good. Yeah, right side up. Or you can crop, erase, and then they also have a stationary package, little word processor, so you can bring the
build up your own letterhead with the
letterhead, put your image in there with some text and ship it out.
How much was this, Gary?
This is $249.
Really fast.
Yeah, it is.
And I think commercial scanners are probably what, $2,000 or something.
Not bad. Okay, my turn. You were talking about portables. I travel a lot. For the people who are into portables, I've got a whole kit full of toys here, depending on what your price range is too. I guess one of the newest portables out is this Toshiba T1000. Very inexpensive. You can get it for $800. George, you tell me you can even get it for less than that.
I've seen it in Computer Shopper for around $650.
I like it. It's the smallest, lightest thing around, about 6 pounds. Very inexpensive. It has a couple limitations. Only one drive, not backlit. The battery isn't replaceable, and so on. But
boy, it's got to be the lightest machine around, though.
You want to just stick it in your briefcase and have it fully compatible, do everything you want, load any kind of software into it.
Stuart, how long do the batteries last? Do you know?
4 hours or so. There's a couple of things. You can put a RAM card in there. That eats up some battery power. You can put the modem inside there. That eats up a lot of battery power. What people are doing is instead getting this little baby, WorldPort 1200. We've seen this before. Has its own 9-volt battery in there. You can use it on any computer. Plug it into your portable. Plug it into your PC when you use it. That's about what, $150 or $200.
That's the modem part.
Yeah, that's the modem. Something in that range. Now, a really neat thing is this printer from Diconics. This is a battery-operated printer. Very clever. George, you like this? Look what they did. The batteries go in here inside the platinum thing. They're rechargeable C-cells. Isn't that clever? So you don't have to waste any room with the batteries. Very nice copy. Very quiet. Inkjet printer. Uses a standard HP inkjet. Relatively inexpensive, $300–400, and excellent quality print, pretty fast, 150 characters per second in draft mode.
Next year I'll bet you they'll have this thing not only as a printer but also as a scanner,
and a fax machine. A couple other real quick things. If you're a portable user and a modem user, you run into a hotel, you can't get into the phone because it's hardwired. All you do is unscrew the mouthpiece, screw this thing on the mouthpiece, plug your jack in, and you can use a phone anywhere, even if it's hardwired.
And is it two-way? Does that give you two-way or just one-way?
Two-way. It's regular. Wow. Same as
how much is that?
This is about $45. Boy. It's a terrific tool if you.
And where can I get it?
I've only seen it in mail order. I've never really seen it in the store. One last thing, if you're really on a budget bit, you only want to spend a couple of bucks. It's about $20 again if you go into 3.5-inch discs like you were talking about. You take all your little things, put them in here, carry them around in your pocket. I think it's $19.95, so it's kind of a
for traveling software, right?
So if you're into portable stuff, here's all kinds of portable things for you. Julie.
Well, this isn't exactly
what is Julie, Wendy?
For the computer user, it's for the kids. Julie is what's supposed to be the world's most sophisticated doll. It's got a 64K memory. It's got a voice synthesizer.
Hi, my name is Julie.
Voice recognition chips in it. It will learn secret words. Children can talk to them. Let's see if I can communicate with her. Julie?
Let's have a party.
Julie?
Ooh, it's nice.
Well, Julie is...
See if you can straighten her out a little bit, Wendy. Okay.
Julie is not listening to me like most children. But there she goes. Okay, be quiet.
Are we making too much noise?
That's right, we are. Okay.
Let's have a party.
Oh, she really is hooked on this party business. Anyway, one of the other features that she has is she has a motion detector in her, so that if she is moved suddenly, she will know it and she'll respond by saying, are we going somewhere? She also has a temperature sensor in her. I put her in the freezer just momentarily, and she indeed did say it's getting colder. And then she comes with a book.
Well, how about, does she have a light detector also?
That's right. She has a light detector, so if it's getting dark.
She says it's dark?
Right. If I put a sheet over her head or something, she would say, it's getting dark in here. And then she'd say, it's getting light. All these little things are hidden inside here. And she comes with a book, which has these little pads on them, and if you put her fingers against them, she'll respond to what's in the book. It's a neat little toy.
What does Julie cost, Wendy?
About $100.
And it comes from?
A Worlds of Wonder.
So it's got a lot of the technology we've seen on the show for the last year or so.
More. Look, it has motion detector, it has heat detection, and it has light detection.
It's a robot, really, called Julie. Okay, Wendy, thanks. We're going to be back with some more toys for Christmas in just a minute, so stay with us. Welcome back to the studio. We've got George Morrow, Wendy Woods, and Santa Claus Gary Kilville here again with a couple more great ideas for Christmas gifts. And let's see, Gary, we're going to start with Wendy because she's something really interesting.
Who's this guy?
This is Mr. Game Show. It's a new toy from Galoob. And,
Hi, everybody.
That's a toy company.
So, what game should we play? Any famous phrases?
He's a little bit obnoxious, but what he is
What's the word?
he's got chips in here.
B, a cassette
Let me
game.
turn him off for a second. He's got chips in here. He's got a 700 phrase vocabulary, and there are 4 different games. And depending on which game you pick, either you use this touchpad, and the lights light up around here, and he comes back with all kinds of insults and compliments, depending on whether you do well or you don't. He can handle up to 4 players at once, and he can just go on and on.
What age level?
This is the money that you win?
Oh yes, you win money, and you can put in a cassette for extra games. This is the trivia games are on cassette.
It's a data cassette or an audio cassette?
It's an audio cassette.
So how much is it?
It's about $100 at major department stores. It's just being sold.
What
this
age
Christmas.
level would it be aimed at, Wendy?
Gee, you know, it's funny because I have a teenage babysitter who can't stand it, but his father loves it.
It's for kids like us, you mean?
You know, Wendy was playing it for me before the show, and as much as I hate these game shows on TV, I found it kind of interesting.
It's kind of funny.
So it's a kind of collection of computer games without a computer, and you can really just play
It
with
just
the
shows you
design.
what modern electronics is finally doing with the toy industry. This is a good
How
example.
it's destroying.
All right, I understand, Wendy, you have to go do your Christmas shopping, so if you want to unwire yourself, you're allowed to take off now.
Thanks.
Okay,
Gary, what do you got?
This is Video Works too, and it's an animation, presentations for home, office, school, things of that sort.
For the Mac.
And for the Mac. And apparently it works just like the old style animation where you lay down a scene, then you put another scene on top of that and move things
Fancy
across
paint
it and so
program.
forth. Yeah.
Who makes it, Gary?
Let's see.
Macromind.
Macromind, okay.
And how much is it?
$200. This is $200.
Now here's an example of it right here. We've got a racetrack set up, and I'm going to start the play, and we'll see the race cars come up to line up, and you've got a little
There's
guy
the flag,
waving his flag, and
right.
off they go. And they're coming around the backstretch there.
We don't have color or sound here, Gary, but you can have color and sound in this, can't you?
Right.
It's pretty good animation.
Yeah. It looks like it'd be a really interesting thing to play around with.
And to use, as you say, for business purposes, too.
Stuart, what are these things you have here?
Okay, Gary, you get business class up, okay? And I'm going to show George these little toys over here. He's been talking expensive things, $200, and before in the other segment, expensive stuff. This is $50, a very interesting program called Ask God.
Ask God.
Claims to be an artificial intelligence program. Basically, it's a database of the Bible.
George Burns wrote it?
I don't know if George Burns, or maybe he's in there, I don't know. Anyhow, so if you have a question, you really want to find out what does the Bible say about a particular subject, you can type in a natural language question. I want to know the meaning of the abundant life, for example, and it'll pull out every phrase from the Bible that talks about the abundant life. So it's kind of an interesting thing, especially for the Christmas season, called Stuart,
what churches have blessed this thing?
I don't know that anybody's blessed it yet, but it's $49 and it's an interesting present for Christmas. Real quickly, something called Daily Features. This is only $15 or $17, something like that. It's kind of a nice gift for your secretary if she uses a computer. When she turns the computer on every morning, it comes up with a quotation of the day, an inspirational quote, a word to learn for the day, and it also comes up with a trivia question for the day.
So it's those pads,
like one of those pads on a disc. Real quickly, $6.95, only $6.95. Fortune cookies on a disc. Put it in your computer. Every time you turn your computer on, you get a fortune. Wow. Gary, you got business class up there?
Business class. This is by Activision. And the idea here is that basically if you're a world traveler and you'd like to find out what the customs or the money exchange, whatever it is throughout the world, you just click on it.
You're going to go
I'm going to click on
it looks like we're going down to England.
And we're going to go right down to London. And we arrive at London and we'll say, well, what we'd like to find is the customs. Okay. And we'll click on the customs, the handshake there, find out about tipping, the language, and so forth. And you can see that we've got a number of things like the exchange rate. Looks like we have airline travel schedules, a variety of other hospital information.
This needs HyperCard to run.
Yes.
Now with HyperCard, how much?
It's $50 this one is. It's a HyperCard stack from Activision, I think is Gary.
Now, how much is the HyperCards?
That's
only $50 too. I think you buy the or it comes for nothing, I think, if you buy a new Mac right now.
Pretty nice.
Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left. What do you want for Christmas, George?
I'd like one of these Kloss projection monitors so I can put my things up on a screen anytime.
You're a high-priced customer.
Yeah, well,
Gary, what do you want?
I'll take an ETAC car navigation system. How's that?
Can you actually buy that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. What was your
I'll bet his ETAC is as expensive as my Kloss.
Gentlemen, we're out of time. I hope you get what you wanted. Thanks for joining us in this special holiday edition of the Chronicles. Hope we'll see you again next week.
I'm Cynthia Cynthia Steele sitting in for Stewart Cheifet. In the random access file this week, researchers at the University of Idaho say they have developed a microchip 100 times faster than any previously known chip. The chip is made of gallium arsenide and it runs at 320 megahertz. That means it can handle 320 million data characters per second. The designers say the chip could actually run at 1 gigahertz or 1 billion cycles per second. The new super speedy chip was designed for NASA to be used in the new space shuttle. Meanwhile, researchers at IBM say they have developed a magnetic disk which can hold 10 gigabits of information on one 3.5-inch disk. That is the equivalent of 620,000 pages of double-spaced typing on one disk, more than 50 times greater than the existing disk capacity. The breakthrough was accomplished by creating disk tracks that are only half a micron or only 20 millionths of an inch wide. If you've gotten stuck in the crack between email users and fax machine users, there may be an answer in sight. DA Systems of Campbell, California has announced the GeoNet mailbox systems, which will interface email and fax systems. At the moment, the system will only support text and is one-directional from email to fax, but it will enable PC users to send mail directly to another person's fax machine. Lotus has reported the results of a survey it just completed on the future of OS/2, and the outlook is quite rosy. A majority of computer managers said they expect OS/2 to become the dominant operating system within the next 5 years. They cited the benefits of multitasking and better memory management, and they expressed confidence that software developers would adopt OS/2 and come out with more powerful and sophisticated applications to take advantage of the new operating system. Lotus also announced this week the release of a new network version of 123 called 123 Networker. The new version of Release 2 of the popular spreadsheet program will support 5 users on a single file. It's pricey, $2,475, but it does come with 5 manuals and it is not copy protected. Time now for Paul Schindler to join in with his software picks for the Christmas shopping season. Here's our special holiday edition of Paul's Software Review.
Ho, 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 ho. Here we are in my actual den, the room in my house in which I do my reviewing, as well as my real job as senior editor of Information Week magazine. Once again this year, with the help of my associate, San Francisco consultant Richard Dalton, I found some Christmas goodies. First, from Simon & Schuster Software comes a $10 gift, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, an animated musical Christmas card. It starts off with jingle bells and some Santa animation. It then offers a nicely illustrated version of The Night Before Christmas. You control the pace of the text. There's a Christmas game which involves moving around pieces of a puzzle. I'm not very good at puzzles, as you can see. You can also use it to write a letter to Santa, and you can legally make copies for your friends. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas is $10. We step up a notch and move over to the Apple computer with Science Toolkit's Body Module, a $40 software package from Broderbund. I can't say enough good things about Broderbund in general and the Science Toolkit in particular. It's well-written software that's fun and educational. Now, there's lots of things you can do with the package, but we're just going to show 3 of them quickly. You can measure your heart rate, measure the volume of air in your lungs, and measure your response time. Science Toolkit Body Lab is $40. At the outer limits of reasonable pricing is Microsoft Bookshelf. Now you see, I've got my dictionary over there and my almanacs and reference manuals over here, but they're all contained on this one $300 CD-ROM, where I can access them instantly from my word processor. It's a great gift for a writer. We're going to wrap up with 2 luxury items that any PC owner would die for. If your loved one sends and receives a lot of facsimile, why not lay out $500 for this facsimile card from The Complete PC? No more fax machine. Let your PC do it. Or the ultimate Christmas computer gift, a $1,495 scanner from Dest, which can digitize most typewritten material and store it on a personal computer. No more retyping documents. What a concept. This is the software for it. With some Christmas suggestions and best wishes for your holiday season, I'm Paul Ho 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 Schindler for the Computer Chronicles.
Commodore is about to announce several new products for 1988, among them an AT coprocessor board called the Bridge Board. They'll also be announcing a new high-resolution monitor for the Amiga. The juiciest rumor is about the new Amiga 3000, which will have 9 megabytes of RAM and a 50 megabyte hard disk plus separate animation and graphics chips. A state legislator in California is using personal computers to bring the government to the people and vice versa. Representative Gwen Moore has started her own legislative bulletin board called There Ought to Be a Law. Her constituents can leave suggestions for new legislation on the board. She's promised to forward all suggestions to the appropriate committees and give users feedback on the dispositions of their suggestions. Finally, someone has turned the Macintosh into a poet. In fact, there are about 500 Macs scattered around the country right now in greeting card shops disguised as the computer poet. For $2.95, the Mac will ask you a few questions about the object of your affections and then compose a more or less custom-made poem for you. You can select from a variety of holiday environments such as Christmas or graduation, birthday or anniversary. There's also a home version of the computer poet software available. It's $29 and it runs on a PC compatible, an Apple II or an Atari ST. And that's it for this week's Random Access. I'm Cynthia Steele.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by CompuServe, featuring an online reference library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping, airline reservations, games, and hundreds of other services. CompuServe, helping people get the most from computers. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.